GoPro on my hand. Morning ferry ride from Ocracoke Island to Cedar Island. Yes, my poor little sunshades are ugly as fuck. And they're worn out, and the little bungee thing doesn't really do anything anymore. But at least I don't have to lay like that with my face straight into the freaking sun. I would rather have these worn out, ugly sunshades. Poor guys. This ferry ride I think is like 2 hours. I'm already quite bored. I slept plenty last night, so I don't really need to take a nap. Of course I'm a yawn now though. Usually reading on a boat will make me sick. This boat's not really moving much. I don't want to get seasick first thing in the morning. Excuse me. I'm going to Cedar Island on this ferry. It just connects with the rest of the state. I want to hit up Wilmington and Morehead City. Probably go down. I don't know if I want to go all the way down to Myrtle Beach or not. We'll see. See what the day does. I'm really bad at remembering the names of things before I start talking. Okay, this ferry ride is super exciting, as you can tell. Arrival is just about 10 o'clock, so it took a little longer than expected, but no big deal. I got really anything happening. Nobody in this truck over here. Not my problem. My problem is, where the fuck do I go now? So the first priority after any ferry ride is a car wash. So at least did like a wash and a rinse. She looks a whole lot better. I did have to do the do-it-yourself car wash because I have my surfboard, my fishing poles, and my boogie board up top. But this little gas station, car wash was perfect. It is exactly what we needed after 2 very salty ferry rides. Priority number 2, food. Google Maps lied to me. It was recommending a seafood festival, which sounded fantastic. But then it turns out that the seafood festival, I think, ended yesterday. But that's okay, because right next door, I mean, it's North Carolina, there's seafood everywhere, so. Right next door was a nice little restaurant with a decent shrimp and grits. It's not the New Orleans style that I'm used to, but it was all right. Kind of weird being on a trip when you really don't have a plan. I like to think that I'm spontaneous, but not as much as I think I am. I mean, sometimes you do have to plan ahead, just so you make sure you have, you know, tickets and things. I didn't plan ahead on this trip, so I ended up staying the extra day in Ocracoke because I didn't have a ferry ticket. Everyone tells me that Myrtle Beach is overrated. I'm not that nice. I don't really know anything about Wilmington. I'm leaning more towards going to Wilmington. I guess it depends on what the water looks like. I would like to spend some time not in this car. That would be ideal. Figure it out. I mean, what if I don't? What if I don't figure it out? Does it make any difference at all? Not very promising for surfing conditions. I think I'm gonna have to change my tactic. Maybe this won't be a surf trip. Yeah, don't matter. I can change my plans. Barber shops and tattoo shops and places to get your car customized or to buy a used car. I imagine that every town outside of a base is like that. And bars. I think everywhere that I was stationed when I was in the military was titty bars, tattoos, smokes, alcohol. Oh, we're all a bunch of degenerates. Well, it's turning out to be a beautiful day in Wilmington. Just got to their historic district. Hopefully find somewhere for lunch. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's uglier than sin. And I feel like an old lady when I wear it. And I kind of think it's awesome. Well, so far, it seems to me that most towns have very similar historic districts. I mean, they all have their own charm. They're all unique. Not meaning that in a negative way. Just that it's always a historic district, usually with brick roads and very traditional kind of colonial looking houses with the big porches and the flags. I don't know what it's called. Somebody with knows more about architecture would know what it was called, where it's got the kind of the railing around the porch and around the top, little decorative molding, the pillars out front. There's usually a lot of plants and pretty flowers, a lot of old churches, and I think usually the historic districts are by a river or on a waterfront. And I mean, it makes sense the way that towns were initially founded. They have kind of rehabilitated and repurposed some of their older industrial buildings and warehouses and things to now be restaurants and bars and shops. And then they usually do historic tours and haunted tours and drinking, bar hopping, haunted tours, which I have done a lot of those in some of the other towns. Charleston is very similar, and Savannah. I actually really enjoyed Savannah. San Antonio is a little different, but it is right there on the river, so it seems like every town has a river walk. Although I had a lot of fun in San Antonio as well. And then just recently I was in Alexandria, right outside DC, and they have a river walk. There is a naval vessel over there. It's the USS North Carolina, I believe. It looks slightly different than the ones that I saw when I was in Norfolk, or Norfolk, if you're from there. But I got all navied out that day, I think. So for my time here in Wilmington, I will do something else. But it's pretty neat. I actually didn't know that I'd be able to see it from here, so that was cool. Kind of just guessing that I parked on this street. I was pretty sure I remembered where I parked, but I was sitting there eating lunch, stuffing my face with delicious stromboli, and then my phone went off and told me, my phone went off and told me that my parking was expiring, and I really didn't want another boot on my car like I got when I was in Atlanta. The one in Atlanta, I guess I kind of deserved. My parking was, 5 hours expired. But it was an empty lot. There were plenty of parking spots. So whatever. I paid my $75 and got the boot taken off. Today, however, my parking would be expired by like 2 minutes. And then there's my car. And I suppose it kind of stands out with the yellow surfboard and stuff on top. Randy Travis is from Marshville, North Carolina. So that's cool. That's something I didn't know.
Take the next right onto East 10th Street. In a quarter mile, turn right onto East 12th Street. Turn left onto South Mid Street.
Headed west out of Charlotte. My buddy Derek is in Waynesville. Again, I'm really bad at the names. He's out here somewhere. He's working out there for another week. And he's got an extra bed, so I'm gonna crash at his place tonight. It'll be nice to see a familiar face and catch up. I don't know if I've already explained this, but I'm just kind of in a transition period in my life right now. So, in a good way. I'm pretty excited for where I'm at and where I'm going and all that. Okay, I think this section has